And coming to this now, Johannesburg Mayor Mpho Phalatse is currently facing a motion of no confidence debate. This is after the courts had returned her to the position following her ousting in September. The ANC managed to garner enough votes to win the city. However, it's unclear who the EFF will side with today. It's business as usual for Phalatse. However, she will be unpacking the city's finances and outlining her move. Reporter Moloko Moloto has the very latest for us, and he joins us now to give us the very latest of those developments. Colleague, good morning to you. A big day, I suppose, for Mpho Phalatse. She's been here before, and now it comes again, that debate around the no confidence vote against her. What can you tell us about what's expected today in council?
So, Tumelo, the battle or the fight for power and the control of the city of Johannesburg continues. As you correctly said this morning, at about 10 o'clock, there's going to be a council meeting. It's meant to be a two-day meeting, but today they are going to be discussing or debating a motion of no confidence in the executive mayor Mpho Phalatse. It's been sponsored by smaller parties, but we know that the vote of it will actually be led by the African National Congress, and of course Dada Morero will be hoping that the ANC will garner enough votes or support to get rid of Mpho Phalatse and hope that he will be installed again as the executive mayor. We know that in September he was installed and he only lasted for about 25 days. However, it's not going to be that easy this time around, because the ANC-led bloc would require support of the economic freedom fighters to remove Mpho Phalatse as the executive mayor of Johannesburg. And following the developments in Ekurhuleni, when the EFF had asked the ANC for control of Ekurhuleni, they wanted to install the EFF mayor there in Ekurhuleni, and it appears there initially were agreements, but we later saw the ANC refusing to give the mayorship to the EFF in Ekurhuleni, and we saw the leader of the EFF, Julius Malema, publicly saying that the outcomes of Ekurhuleni are going to inform what happens in Johannesburg, and we can assume that the EFF may not support the ANC in Johannesburg, and if they don't, it would mean that chances of removing Mpho Phalatse would be very slender indeed. But before that 10 o'clock council meeting, we are expecting the executive mayor at about 8:30 to brief the media about the state of finances in the city. It's an open secret. In fact, the mayor herself admits that the finances of the city are not in a good position. However, she denies that the city is on the brink of bankruptcy. We know that last week, just in the past few days, she her request to go and borrow 2 billion rand from the Southern African Development Bank, or Development Bank of Southern Africa, I beg pardon, to borrow about 2 billion rand from that institution was actually turned down by council. And obviously, the fact that they're requesting for money is a clear indication that their cash flow is not in a good state. Of course, she did promise that she's going to be presenting what she believes to be the credible state of affairs, finance-wise, of the city this morning. They are certainly battling to collect revenue. Ideally, every month they ought to be collecting about 4 billion rand, and they are struggling because they say the culture of non-payment is just so perverse across the city of Johannesburg. So we're expecting that she will be trying to explain the city, and I suppose it's an opportunity for her because she doesn't know whether she will be the executive mayor by the end of the day. So she possibly wants to say, this is what we have done, this is what we are planning to do ahead of that motion of no confidence that's going to be debated later today.
All right, as of course those events take place, from where you stand, Moloko, we'll leave it to you and we'll come back to you as soon as there are other developments. It seems equally, though, it's a normal day, usual, day at the office for Mpho Phalatse, while this dark cloud hangs over whether or not she'll, of course, be able to commence with her job as executive mayor in future. But we'll be sure to catch up with you, colleague, as soon as there are other developments from where you stand. eNCA's Moloko Moloto joining us this morning, of course, around the no confidence motion debate regarding Executive Mayor of Johannesburg, Mpho Phalatse.